Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
Hey everybody, assholeconsulting.com. Go there with your checkbook, give me money, and I'll answer your questions. This comes from Perry. Perry writes, "Hey asshole, returning client, I'm going to pass on IT altogether because just don't want to deal with project managers who get paid way too much and who promise too much to put the burden of all the work and too much change management on me as a programmer. I just write them how they're read, guys. I know you said to go back to school for a core engineering such as software engineering, computer engineering, mechanical, chemical, or civil, but the dev of a 2 to 3 year university, in my opinion, is not worth it, as a lot of the jobs I find are either going to be outsourced to India or imported in with H-1B through Chinese and Indian programmers who are a headache to work with. Not to mention simply really political management. I asked my buddy about accounting. He recommended the CFA over the CPA. I know you've said that the CPA is getting too credentialized, but for a 10 to 20 year investment with a decent return on investment for employment demand and to get some private employment checks, which one, based on your research skills and economic background, would be a better employment investment for the perceivable future? Thanks, asshole." That's from Perry. Well, to be literal, I did a little bit of research, so I got my paper here. If you want the black and white answer, economically speaking, the CFA is the better investment. The average or median income for a CFA is $87,000, where the median income for a CPA is only $61,000. But this does not consider some things about the CFA versus the CPA, specifically what industries you're going to go into. But before we do that, let's first talk about how you get your CPA versus your CFA. The CPA, you take a test and you're done. Now, you have to go to college, and increasingly so, the accounting state boards of accounting certification are requiring more master's classes. Some even require master's degrees. So this progressive credentialism continues on. It's a pain in the ass. And then it's like, okay, is it worth having to go and get a master's degree only to make $61,000 a year median income? Or should I just be a bookkeeper and be a low-level accountant? But the CFA, you think the CPA test is arduous. Their pass rates are only 50%. The CFA is even worse, and by threefold, because you don't just go and take your test that week and then you get your CFA. No, it's spread out across 3 tests. You take one each year over the course of 3 years, so you have to wait 3 years to get it. You have to have 4 years experience in this field. And the honest truth, it's more like a club or an esteemed certification. And if you're going to pass the CFA, what I suspect is 2 things. One, you're in an industry where it's sales driven, and you're also a more driven person if you can get the CFA. So you're probably going to make higher income anyway. I don't think the CFA designation really does. And if you look at how many people in the industry have a CFA, this is not like a college degree. It is such a pain in the ass to get this thing. Very few people have it. So you're like, oh, CFA, golf clap. You know, it's an impressive thing, and you raise an eyebrow, but it is so rare. It's not like you have to have it to go work at any finance industry. The vast majority of finance, I mean, I saw a chart. It's like less than 2% of the people, even at Goldman Sachs, we're talking top-notch investment banks, have their CFA. So I would not, if you have the audacity or the drive to pass the CFA, I don't know if you even have to pass the CFA. You may just make damn good money because you're a hard worker and you're intelligent. So the CFA to me seems to be a little bit more of an esteem thing, and it's the cart before the horse or the chicken before the egg when you associate the median income. Oh, they have a CFA, that's why they make that money. I wonder if you had the same amount of hustle, if you wouldn't have made that money anyway, because of the personality and the skill of people who would be able to pass the CFA. But now, despite this 30%, a third premium the CFA has over the CPA, I'm still going to recommend against the CFA for you in particular. In general, yes, but I'll go into in part because you're giving all the the reasons you don't want to get into engineering. And if you think it's bad in IT, politics, project managers, and bullshit and flooded markets, wait till you get in finance. That is where predominantly you're going to be able to work as a CFA. And that's pretty much. I mean, you can work in medical and pharmaceutical. I mean, you can work anywhere, but the vast majority of your employment, the vast majority of where the CFA is going to open doors, is going to be in the finance industry. And the finance industry is incompetent, corrupt as fuck, filled with a bunch of political cocksucking, backstabbing, ass-kissing assholes. There's a reason the housing bubble burst, and all these top-notch investment banks, I think Goldman Sachs included, needed bailout money from the taxpayers. It's because it is not meritocratic. It is not about working hard. It is all about politics and ass-kissing and brown-nosing. So, I mean, are there good bankers? Yeah, I met one or two. There's been a couple. Yeah, there has been. There's been a couple. But that industry is worse than politics, man. It's worse than academia. I would not, if you have this personality profile, just suck it up with the Chinese and the East Indians coming in and programming C#. So what? I mean, at least they're working. At least they're nerds. At least they're geeks. The element of honor among geeks there. You go into investment banking or anywhere that the CFA is going to get you, you won't succeed. You won't, and you could be right. You could be 100% right, but you're just not going to tolerate the bullshit. That is the primary drawback for you. And what I would say is the primary drawback for anybody who's looking at the CFA. Because if you were like me and a lot of other people, you found economics and finance fascinating. It was very interesting. You love the math. But unfortunately, you don't do that in the real world. It is salesmanship and snake oil and politics and cocksucking and ass-kissing. So it's sad, but the CFA is, I'd say, almost unnecessary. But certainly not. If you're on this channel and you respect yourself and you like to have a life, I would not get your CFA. It just seems like a big dick contest. Look at my financial dick. I got a CFA. That's kind of it. Then the CPA. Yeah, it doesn't make as much, but here's why I like the CPA more. And what, in general, my policy would be you go for the CPA over the CFA. But not for everybody. Different strokes for different folks. But in general, I'd recommend the CPA over the CFA because the CPA, you can work anywhere. Accountants are in demand all over the place. And so you have much more versatility to find a job still in accounting, but in an industry or a sector that is conducive to your personality that you would drive well with your CPA. The other thing I like about the CPA is it's a trade. It is a certification. The CFA, what do you do? Well, I can really analyze finances really well. Not everybody needs that. You know what everybody needs, especially this time of year? Fucking taxes done. That they need tax accountants. And as a CPA, you literally, it's like being a plumber or electrician in this regard. Are you a plumber? Are you an electrician? Good. Hang a sign out in front of your door and bam, you're immediately self-employed. And you could start off as a small-time CPA. You got your accountancy set up. You can hire other CPAs. I don't know why more CPAs don't do this, but seriously, you just hang your sign up on your door, Bob CPA Hut. Like our buddy Chad Elkins, he just went off on his own and says, I don't have to fucking work here. I'm going to go do I can do this shit and more interesting shit and make more money and do it cheaper than you guys. And he did. And now he's no other profession I know can just say, fuck this, and then just go and say, I'm going to start my own accountancy. And you actually have clients. So the CPA, I would think, is the better way to go. But dude, accounting is boring. It's boring as hell. I am still advising for you to go back to IT. The finance accounting world is boring. It sucks. And then if you're in finance, it's corrupt. And in the CPA, you're going to have to put so much effort into it. And it's not thinking. It's memorization. Accounting is not terribly difficult. It is complex. And it's always changing. And it's mind-numbing bullshit. And to keep your CPA current, you have to constantly get your CPA, your continuing your continuing education credits, because we can never fucking invest enough in this goddamn education industry. I would become a nerd, become an IT guy. Seriously, I've gone down there. I've done my own taxes. I've done taxes. I've done financial analysis. I've done bookkeeping. I've done the banking. Just become a fucking nerd. It's easier. I know there's more calculus. I know you may not like the competition from overseas. It's still going to be easier than the bullshit you're going to have to go through, either being in accounting and certainly the finance industry. So absolutely, for me, I'd say the CPA over the CFA, but IT and geekery and STEM trump them both. Toodles.